We're on Niddah, Perek Mishnah, fifth Mishnah in the 9th chapter of Masechet Niddah. We're continuing to talk about our case of a slumber party. 3 women in bed together, and they see blood. So in the last Mishnah, what we said was that the kulam tameo, they are tameo. But now we're going to talk about a case where that's not the case, where you have to ask yourself where the stain was found. And we're going to discuss, and Baratunur will explain what the difference between the two is. Shalosh Shashim, with 3 women, they were in one bed. And the blood was found under the one who was sleeping in the middle. Then kulam tameot. Then you have to assume that the blood could have come from either side because there's shifting going on. Tachat hapnimit, but if it's under the one who's inside, so the bed is next to a wall. So basically, you have one gets in. They have 3 women, one next to the wall, one in the middle, and one is called the pnimit. That's the inner one. And then the one outside is called the chitzona, and in the Mishnah's case, that's called derech aleha, or derech aliyah, through her. So the Mishnah says, now, if you found tachat hapnimit, if you found the blood under the one on the inside, then shtayim hapnimiyot tameot, v'chitzona tahora. Then the 2 inner ones are tameot. The outside one is tahora, because it's obviously, you have to assume that they could have rolled all the way over, or whatever. The outside one, it was just not in her area of bed rolling space, whereas it is in the inner 2. Similarly, tachat hachitzona, if it's on the one on the outside, shtayim hachitzonot tameot, then the outer ones are tameot v'apnimit tahora. So you always want, that's why you never want the middle seat on the airplane, because you're stuck. But the people want to get in the aisle, and you also don't have the aisle space. So the same thing is true here, that you want you never want to have the middle space, because wherever the blood is, you're messed up. So I guess probably when they sold hotel reservations, they're like, oh, you're in room 322. You're in the middle of the bed. Sorry. I wonder if I'm sure they had that in first class. No, I get to see the inside. Anyway, so the Bartuner says, well, what's the difference between this Mishnah and the last Mishnah, where we said kulam tameot? So the Bartuner, based on the Gemara, says very, very simple. Okay, what's the difference? In the last Mishnah, they were in economy. They were stuck together. So therefore, hilkach ika lisvuke bechitzona afilu kishnim sadam tachat hapanimit. They were, therefore, you have to be safek and say, maybe even since they're all stuck together in economy, it could have gone, then even if there's blood on the inside, nonetheless, you have to assume the outer one is still tameah. Whereas in this Mishnah, we're talking about a case of, I guess, either economy plus or business class, where there's enough space for them, and therefore you could decide. You have to use your judgment and decide which is tameh and which is tahor. Says the Mishnah, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, said Rabbi Yehuda, Matai, when is this true? So this is all true when they entered the bed. They got in bed from the bottom, from the foot of the bed. They all climbed in from the foot of the bed. So either aleh or aliyah. Some say it's aliyah. So, but if they all climbed in from the side, from the outside, then kulam tameot, because you don't know they were getting in. It's dark at night. You don't know. One of them bled. You don't know where the blood came from, because it could be while she's climbing in bed. That's where the stain came from. Badka, the Mishnah says, Badka achat mehem. V'nim say, sorry, one second, I have to straighten it out. Badka achat mehem v'nim say tahora. One of them examined herself and found out she is tahora. He tahora, shtayim tameot, and she is tahora, and the other 2 have to assume that they're tameot. But kushtayim umatzu tahorot. 2 of them checked and found their tahorot. Hein tahorot v'ashlishi tameah. So they're tahorot, and the 3rd one, she's up the creek. Shlashtan umatzu tahorot. If they all examine themselves, just like in the last Mishnah, kulam tameot, then you have to, it came from somewhere, so they're all tameot. Oh, somebody didn't check properly or whatever, one of you bled, and now all of you are clean, so we don't know who. That's the Mishnah. To what can this be compared? Legal tameh. You have a gal, a pile of stones, pile of rocks, and you knew that there's tuma under one of them, meaning you had an earthquake, lo aleinu, under one of these piles of rocks, there's tuma, big tuma, okay, and then there were other things in the pile, so you don't know, and so the items in that pile of rocks, you pulled out, I don't know, jugs and bread or whatever. So the question is, there's tuma under one of them, so what of the things are, what is tameh in it, you don't know. So legal tameh shenitare ben shnei galim torim. 2 of the piles are tahor. Ubadku achad mehem matzu tahor. So if you checked one of them, it's tahor. Hu tahor shneim tameim. So that one's fine, and the other 2 are tameh. Shnayim, if you check 2 of them, umatzu torim, they're okay. Heim torim v'ashlishi tameh. Then you assume that they are tahor, and the 3rd one is tameh. Shalash dam umatzu tahor. Let's say you checked all 3 now. Now you knew there was tuma under one of them. I don't know, there was like a dead cat, right? A dead sheretz. So that there's a dead cat. You smelled it. It was terrible. So the smell was there, but now you checked, and it's gone. Nothing there. You uncovered all 3 piles. Kulam Tmeim Di Rabbi Meir. Meir says, no. You can't. You know that the cat would die. You know it was there. So therefore, when you examined all of them, so you have to say, no, the tumah was there. You don't know what happened. So all the items from all 3 piles are Tmeim. That's Rabbi Meir. Shay Rabbi Meir Omer. Rabbi Meir says, no. Call davar shu bechezkat tumah. If you have a chazakah of tumah, la'olam betumato. It can remains in its status of tumah. Achi vadalacha. Tumah hechanu. Until you know what happened. Meaning, you smelled the cat, it was there, so the tumah is there. The Chachamim or Mecham say no. Bodeg at shemegia lesela or the betula. You check it till you get to the sela. Sela means, to the rock, to the limestone, or the betula, or fresh earth. You go all the way down, and if there's no tumah there, then the Bartunura says, based on the Gemara, the Bartunura says, no, you can assume Hagal tahor. They're all tahor. Why? The Amor Bao Raven Tatama. You smelled the cat before, but maybe an Orev came, a raven came, caught the raven, took the cat, no tumah, and therefore you can assume that the items there are torim. If you did examine all 3, then they'd be tahor. But the Bartunura says, but in the case of the women, even if they all examined themselves, nonetheless, one of them bled. The stain is there. So therefore, in the case of the women, they're all tameot. We'll stop here, dedicate our learning to memory, Father, and make it a great day.